go into the studio, right?
Yes, the broadcast is live.
So we are starting. Dennis and Abraham, Dennis and Brian, some people are asking how to join. Please, may you post the link on our WhatsApp page. May you post the link there so people can be able to join. Now that we are live, welcome everyone on set. Welcome my brother Paila Boni from Uganda, and basically from northern Uganda. He'll be able to tell us about himself. I don't need to talk about himself. He's there. He's going to do the talking for himself. He'll tell us who he is, what he does, and you get to know him much better. I'm happy to have Linda tonight, my sister from South Africa, but my great African from all over Zimbabwe. Oh, I call you an African of everywhere because you have been in East Africa, you have been in West, you are in now South, you are everywhere. We are going to have a great show about Uganda tonight. We are going to have two important guests, all Ugandans. Paila Boni from Uganda, and then Abraham, who is right now based in South Africa. And with time, if our brother Richard Baguma Council joins us, we shall be grateful having him on board. Welcome on board, and we are starting right away. Call to Activism Africa, and today's topic is Uganda. We are looking at the state of human rights in Uganda, and you want to have a touch into the Pearl of Africa, where lots of things have happened and continue to happen. My name is Kato Mukasa. I'm going to be hosting this with my friend, my colleague, Linda Terry, and we shall be taking you through a number of aspects in Uganda, especially on human rights, and we shall be asking ourselves questions on what has been done to improve the situation and what we can do. So today we are discussing human rights, the source of human rights in Uganda, and we shall be looking at Africa in summary. Welcome on board. We are going to start with my sister Linda, who is going to give us a brief introduction, and then we will invite our guest, who will give us a brief, first of all, about himself, and then we shall go right into the heart of the matter of today. Linda, welcome, Linda.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's lovely to be here again. I have got the Ugandan flag behind me tonight in support of Uganda. I have been working in Uganda with Ugandan people for over 2 years now. I've spent most of my adult life living next door in Tanzania. Now I'm in South Africa. I have got involved with the humanist schools in Uganda, and obviously getting to know the people there, I started becoming aware of a lot of human rights abuses that were taking place in the country, which I've just become more and more involved with over the years, as they have actually got worse, especially after your elections last year. So I've realized that in Southern Africa we still have freedom of speech to a degree, that I need to start writing and speaking out for Uganda, because so many of the journalists, writers, and activists were being silenced or imprisoned or tortured and never seen again. And I just thought that as a fellow African, I need to start speaking for Uganda and just raising awareness where I can. And I have been having some success with that. And I have just connected more and more with the wonderful Ugandan people over the years. And I've really, really become interested and invested in the country and in promoting the humanist schools there, because I believe that education is the key to Africa's freedom one day. So I am very much a strong supporter of Uganda. And I am very much against the Museveni regime, which is actually a military. The country is a lawless territory because it's under military rule. Your elections last year, even electoral international bodies said they were the most unfair, violent elections that Uganda had ever had. So I'm also trying to raise awareness in the West for the fact that they are actually doing trade with a military regime, which is responsible for the brutality and killing of so many people on a daily basis. And as long as the West continues to support Uganda and send aid and trade with Uganda, the problem is going to continue. I've also been attacking people who buy coffee from Uganda, not attacking them, but verbally, also saying to them that every time you have a cup of coffee, you must know that you are actually helping to pay towards the torture and death of a Ugandan citizen. And the children are suffering and they're starving, and people just have to become aware. So I've become very, very outspoken for Uganda. And I was born when Idi Amin was still ruling your country, and I remember as a child growing up hearing the parents speaking in hushed whispers. It then became known as the Ugandan genocide. That was the name it was given to it afterwards, but it was notorious. I grew up as a child knowing about murders and massacres going on in Uganda. I never thought that I would be an adult one day with children of my own talking again about genocide in Uganda, but this time a completely different one. And it's not right. And people in Uganda today actually say that they had it a lot better during Idi Amin's rule because at least they didn't have the poverty and the heartache and the hardships and the no employment and that they have today. And that is something really, really terrible, I feel, as an African, where I have to hear people saying they would rather have one brutal dictator over another. Why should our people even be in the position where they are having to ask that question and say, we would give anything to go back to a time when Idi Amin ruled us? And that just, I think, gives an idea of just how bad it is in Uganda. As the mineral wealth increases, so do the human rights abuses. So I'm really glad that we're going to be covering Uganda tonight. And I'm really pleased to meet with other Ugandans who are, have a finger on the pulse as to what's actually going on there. So I'm looking forward to the show. Thanks, Kato.
Thank you so much, Linda, for that introduction. Now, we are going to go straight into the heart of the matter with our comrade Bonnie giving us an introduction of himself. Bonnie, may you please come on set and briefly tell us who you are, first start, and then we shall go deep right into the heart of the matter today.
Oh, sorry. Thank you so much, Kato, and thank you so much, Aline, for hosting this, I call it conversation, because we have had it quite many times on different platforms. My name is Paira Boni. I hail from Gulu, in fact not Gulu, but Nuoya, which was capped from Gulu district, and Gulu ended up becoming a city. I'm a journalist by profession. I am also the executive director of Humanist in Northern Uganda. I am a human rights defender, a talk show host who once was, whose rights was also violated by certain unlawful arrests and unlawful release. So basically, that is little I can tell the audience about myself. I am passionate about rights because I know it is one thing that can never be bought or sold. I also believe that as humans, we shouldn't be limited. I'm sorry, I'm going to bring in the border issue. We are not supposed to be limited on travels. We are supposed to travel freely, because that is also, I consider it a right being violated if I'm denied entrance to another country or another territory. So Kato briefly does, and Linda briefly does about me, but I also want to apologize that my power is misbehaving, so it will keep switching off my Wi-Fi, bring it back. I hope the audience will bear with that.
Yes, Bonnie, thank you so much, my brother. Yes, it's true. We are having some bit of challenge with the feedback from your connection, but it's not so big to worry about. I think you did very much okay. If you can hear me, I was hearing you very well. Everything was clear. The reason why we brought you on site is because of the work you do, and of course because of the history you have given us and your unique setting in northern Uganda, a place which is known, or a region which is known for many victims of war, a war that went on for over 20 years. All of us know what Kony did in northern Uganda. We have been there. We have seen the districts there. We have seen orphans. We have seen people without land. We have got conflicts of people being chased away from their land so that they can plant sugar and all that. So we know lots of challenges in northern Uganda, and we bring you on set as a human rights defender, as a journalist, as a Ugandan, as an intellectual, to give us the perspective of the status of human rights within the place where you are. For example, as a starting point, how is it in northern Uganda? Before we go back to the entire Uganda, how is it in eastern Uganda? How is it in Karamoja region? What's the status? How are people faring right now in the region where you are?
Thank you so much, Kato. Though the network is not so good, I want to believe I don't know if I'm also noisy where you are. Are you listening to me? And do you feel noise?
I can hear you. It's breaking, but I can hear you.
Okay. If I picked you well, being a journalist, I want to talk from the perspective of my profession. In 2015, while hosting a political talk show, and the president was fortunately within Gulu.
I think we've lost sound with Uganda.
Yes, Bonnie? Something went wrong? Yes. Linda, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I'm just trying to sort out background noise on my side. Okay, I think that's much better, thanks. Yeah, because Dennis kept muting my mic as well because of sound effect. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I think we've lost Bonnie, Kato. I think he did say he was having issues with his reception, with his network. Okay, and now Kato's also gone off, so I'm here on my own again. Can you guys hear me here? Abraham, can you hear me? Am I, because everyone else has gone off, I'm not sure if we're still on. I think we've, okay. Let's just see. I think that maybe they've lost connection in Uganda. Okay, right, I think we're getting Kato back. Kato, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Oh, we've got two Katos on the screen there. There we go.
Yeah, I'm going to take one off.
Okay, great.
Is my sound clear
so we've
now?
Lost. It's much better. Yes, it is. It's much better.
I'm on a different set right now. I've switched the phones and the set. Linda, we're having Bonnie. Bonnie's having challenges with network, which is expected back home in Uganda. And I'm sorry for him. He communicated his network is breaking. It's a challenge in Uganda. especially because you have to be with VPN to be online. You know,
That's right.
the regime has sabotaged communication so much that the regime now fears its own shadow. People talking on Facebook makes Museveni scream, makes him fear so much. He fears words more than bullets. So we have challenges of human rights in Uganda, including the denial to be online. Linda, I should tell you that being online in Uganda is very expensive for Ugandan.
I know, I realize that.
Because credit or data or internet data to be online is quite very high, and it is taxed. You know, so you put in money and this money goes in thin air, and then the government puts on tariffs and also the roadblocks for you not to be able to access Facebook. Now you have to be with VPN, and when you have VPN, means that your communication is going to be very expensive. So when you talk about human rights, even the right to communicate in Uganda is very hard. The right to be on air, as we are right now, me and you, in Uganda is very hard. Because
it's a privilege for us.
It is a privilege for the few who can afford money. Not everyone is going to be affording airtime and data when your child has nothing to eat. You have to prioritize whether I should buy airtime or I should buy sugar. In Uganda, everything is out of the roof. The cost of living in Uganda is skyrocketing. Right now, as I speak, a liter of fuel, you need fuel for your car, your motorcycle, your generator to be able to access light. A liter of fuel is over 10,000 shillings. My mother was telling me because this week we sent her to the hospital in Kampala, and my sister was complaining because her car takes quite a number of liters of fuel, and then she had to fuel it with almost $100 just to fuel a car and take a patient who is my mother to hospital. So when you talk about human rights violation, it also starts with a stupid economy where people cannot survive. True. The economy, the taxes are quite high. The cost of living is going out of the roof, as I've said. Food prices are quite high. You know, roads are poor. Hospitals don't have medicine. So these are human rights concerns in Uganda, and there are quite many. The reason why we wanted Bonnie to be on site was partly because he is a journalist and he works in northern Uganda, a region which has been totally abused by the regime over the years. And Bonnie himself, as a human rights defender, was fired from his job because he was critical on certain issues. He's a free guy. If you see his posts on our platform, on the WhatsApp group, you know, you can talk freely. In Uganda, if you're a journalist and you go online and you talk so freely, you want to criticize issues, you want to bring your intellectualism, you know, you want to bring a balance over discussion. I mean, the state doesn't like you that much. So Bonnie had to lose a job about 4 or 5 years ago, and that was the status of his unemployment at one point. So in Uganda, when you talk about rights, it's a big, big challenge. And I want everyone to appreciate that this challenge is partly because we have had a president who has overstayed in power. Linda, we have a president who came to power in 1986. And that president, who is over 80 years, for you to think he's 78, I doubt it, because Museveni is a liar.
They all lie about their ages.
Museveni is a consummate liar. He has been lying about everything. Museveni lies about everything. He lied about his name. He lied about his age. He lied about his education. He lied about his family. He lied about his ancestry. Museveni is a consummate liar. He lies about everything. So when Museveni tells you he's 78, you better add 5 years. Because Museveni is a big-time liar. You know? So, me, when he says I'm 78, I know he's 83. Around there. He must be too old. That's why he cannot reason properly now. That's why I normally say on set and everywhere that Museveni treats us, Ugandans, as cows. As cows. You know, all of us know cows in Africa.
He actually treats us cows better, can I just add? He treats us cows better than he treats the Ugandan people. To be honest here, Kato.
That's how he treats us. That's how he treats us, Linda. That's how he treats us, Linda. Yes, my brother Baguma is upset. Baguma,
and he tells you guys just to eat cassava. Oh, man.
Welcome, Cassava Guma.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, I won't go ahead
Welcome.
so much. Since we have Baguma on set, I'm going to invite him. Mr. Baguma is a lawyer, senior counsel. I'm going to invite him to briefly introduce himself to the viewers. Welcome, Council Baguma.
Welcome.
Thank you, Tile. Thank you, my seniors, Tile and Kato. My name again is Baguma Richard Ruatoro. I'm a lawyer, but I consider myself more of a communitarian. I'm always working around community issues. I'm based in Kampala. It is a cold night here. I'm sorry I delayed a bit. I'm ignorant about these technologies. I must say, I thank you. It's my first time that I'm getting on these YouTube of things.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome.
Yes. So forgive my ignorance. I sent my presentation on the forum. I hope I can be able to share it here when my time comes to present.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Executive
Baguma.
Director of the Civil Society Coalition on Transport, a body that brings together about 50 NGOs that work on transport policy with the Ministry of Transport. That's how I get my bread and sugar. For the law, I'm attached to Kalenda and Company Advocates in Kampala City here. I'm glad to be here, colleagues.
Wonderful. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, Councilor Baguma. I'm here with my colleague, Linda Tilly, and we are going to have a nice time with you. I'll just go straight into matters Uganda. Mr. Baguma, yes. As a lawyer, as a social activist, I would like you to take us through the state of human rights in your sector. As a person, as a lawyer who is an activist in Uganda, basically involved in the transport sector, basically involved in the advocacy of the many people who are involved in the transport sector in Uganda. Many of them less educated, some of them uneducated. Mr. Baguma, as a lawyer, these people have rights, but we normally see them being harassed by policemen, being chased out of the city, being arrested. We would like you to take us through the state of human rights within your sector and give us a picture of what is happening within your own sector. As a lawyer, working with thousands of people who are involved in the transport sector, what is the status today of the people you work with, Mr. Baguma? Councilor Baguma, we're waiting for you to give us some highlight on that sector.
Thank you, Councilor Kato. I see you are narrowing down the scope of my answer.
No.
But I had come prepared to give a broad overview.
Give a broad overview.
With your indulgence, I would like that you allow me briefly delve into the transport human rights violations, and then I look at the broader aspect of human rights in Uganda.
Please do.
Wonderful.
If you so permit, I'm ready to begin.
Go ahead, please.
First, I apologize to colleagues. The lighting system is a good one. Probably I also attribute the resolution of my camera to a gadget that is not adequate for these kinds of meetings. I'm hopeful that my audios are coming out clearly.
Very clear.
Yes, they're perfect.
For starters, we consider transport as a human right, the right to mobility. And in Uganda, the right to mobility is very threatened. For one, poverty has deprived many of the means of transport. If you read sector studies, people, about 80% of Ugandans walk to work and back, not because they want to walk as it is in the West as a means of exercise, but because it is not affordable to take a taxi, it's not affordable to take a boda boda, it's not affordable to buy a bicycle. So the right to mobility is directly impugned. Two, if you go to the transport service sector, if you've been around downtown Kampala, you'll find that even the right of movement is limited. What is supposed to be a walkway, people are selling vegetables there. What is supposed to be a road, there are cars parked. They have turned it into a parking lot. Those are all expressions of violations to mobility and the right to movement. If you go at the bus stations, you'll see how touts are fighting for passengers. People literally grabbing women by the hands. Come here, come there, in our local languages. That's a bodily integrity that is being violated. If you come to the question of the duty of the state to protect and to fulfill, the state is failing in that. The mere fact that, for example, Kampala City, in the last program working group meeting we had, 2,100 kilometers of roads, only 30% of it is in good state. And yet, people are paying taxes. You expect to have public investments in repairing these roads and improving access and mobility. We lose $800 million every year in traffic jam. That's a report from the World Bank. How much more is suffered in terms of health by the fumes that we keep breathing in? Uganda and Kampala has one of the worst air quality indices around Africa. All these are violations. I've just answered bits of it in the transport sector. If you go to infrastructure development, if you go to infrastructure development, workers at sites, they work without helmets, they work without gloves, they work without masks. All those are violations. They are underpaid, they are overworked, they have no contracts. When they are injured, there is no compensation. If you come to the area of road safety, and they never get compensation from insurance companies, a lot is happening in our sector. Maybe I should use this very opportunity to say we want everyone to come and join CISCOT. As the ED, I'm giving you that invitation. But if you allow me, I'm ready to go into my presentation, my senior.
Please go ahead. Go ahead, Council. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Colleagues and friends, I noted in my presentation, I titled my presentation as the state of affairs sustaining human rights violations in Uganda. That human rights is not just an issue to talk about in policy parlance and legal jargon. There is an environment in which it finds itself and operates. And I wanted to bring out the fact that there are a lot of things that influence these violations. And I noted here that our national objectives and directive principles of state policy, number one, sub-numero 1, clearly states that our national objectives and directive principles of state policy shall guide all organs and agencies of the state, all citizens, organizations, and other bodies and persons in applying or interpreting the Constitution or any other law, and in taking and implementing any policy decisions for the establishment and promotion of a just, free, and democratic society. That is the national objective and the directive principle of state policy number 1. The fact that I'm going to be dealing with the policy and legal issues, I'm persuaded by that provision of the Constitution that I stated clearly that is going to guide my submission this evening. I cited in paragraph 3 that the sources of law in Uganda provided in section 14 and 15 of the Judicature Act, Cap 13, as to include the Constitution, which is the supreme law, in accordance with Article 2, Clause 1 and 2 of the Constitution. We have legislation, customary law, common law, and doctrines of equity, and international law in addition to case law. Those are the sources of law in Uganda. Chapter 4 of the Constitution, between Article 20 and 45, provides for the Bill of Rights in Uganda, and it domesticates international and regional instruments as we know them. And the Article 45 specifically provides for all other rights that are not expressly provided in the Constitution. To this end, we look at rights like the right to health, the right to food, water, and housing, and others. Then we have enacted the Human Rights Enforcement Act of 2019, which provides in Section 4 that interpretation of international human rights instruments can be done in our local courts, which is a very good development. Back in the day, international law was only persuasive to the extent that it is able to argue comparative jurisprudence. But this particular section of the Human Rights Enforcement Act makes it mandatory on the local courts to interpret international human rights instruments in the Ugandan courts. Article 50 provides for enforcement of these human rights before the High Court and other quasi-judicial institutions like the Uganda Human Rights Commission. I looked at the UN mechanisms also available for enforcement of rights, like the petitions to the UN Rapporteur.
Council, we are still here, and thank you so much. Maybe the network is disturbing you a little bit. Linda, are you able to?
Okay. I can't know. I've lost sight of him as well now, but that's.
Yes.
Are you back again? I think it's just frozen.
He'll be back in, yeah. So, Linda, meanwhile, as we wait for Council to come back, Linda, can you please chip in the meantime? Can you please chip in?
I found that very, very interesting because as human rights defenders, we always seem to, I myself, only ever really think of the actual human issues involved with things like having the right to food and having the right to medical care and the normal things you think of human rights. But actually hearing about how human rights relate to every industry, like the transport industry, is really very interesting. When he talks about the fact that there's so much pollution in Kampala, which residents who live there are breathing in every day, and that is also a violation of their rights because they should be living in a city where this is properly controlled. Even the fact that you've got your sidewalks and things, your pavements littered, not littered, but I know all the mothers selling their mboga, the vegetables and that, because people just, they're desperate to make a living, so they obviously want to go to main traffic areas where they can sell their goods, and this obstructs the traffic flow for other people. And all those things, which I think just boils down to the fact that a badly managed country, a country that's not being managed, it's just being sort of drip fed to keep it going, the cracks eventually start to show in all these areas. And that's really opened my eyes, because some of the things you see in African cities around the continent, and you never actually really think of it's bad management. And you also think of all the police and military that are always out there doing ridiculous things, checking up and arresting people for no reason, when they could actually be putting themselves to good use by helping with issues like this in this congestion and that in cities. So it's very, very interesting, because we tend to think of things like, as I say, the human suffering, but it's all relative. It all ties in with the whole thing, with a country that's just not being managed properly. And I think what makes it really sad for me is that it's not because Uganda is poor. People can't say, oh, well, we've got no money, we're a poverty-stricken country, because Uganda is one of our wealthiest countries at the moment, with all your mineral reserves. There's all sorts of metals and that is very valuable, that is being discovered in places like Karamoja. I know mineral surveys of your country have shown that 80% of Uganda has minerals of some kind, And those are aerial surveys they've done. And your gold is said to be amongst the purest in the world, which would mean that you had the most valuable gold. That is the highest prices in the world. So once again, we see a perfect example of how if the country had been managed by a proper government and public funding was being put where it was supposed to be, Uganda should actually be one of our leading countries now. It's one of our smaller countries, so your money can do a lot more than it can in a massive country than, for example, say Nigeria, which is huge. Uganda is the size of the United Kingdom. A lot of people don't realize that the United Kingdom is the size of Uganda, just to give you an idea. And it's really just very interesting to see. It's sad because all these things should have been taken care of long ago, and you should be one of our leading countries. So there again, it's just mismanagement of funding and looting and theft and stealing, which is what how Africa unfortunately is run at the moment by our dictator presidents who are cutting deals with the West and the East to the detriment of our people. So it is affecting every single industry. This 36 years of rule by one dictator who just changes the constitution at will so that he can keep in power. I think he changed the term that a president could run for. I think when he reached his maximum limit, he altered that. And then I think also when he reached the age limit, he also upped the age limit, didn't he? I know you know a bit more about that, but it's just, it's like almost like a joke. You almost can't believe that it's actually happening, but it is actually happening. And that's how he's managing to do it.
Yes, that's true. Yes, that's true, Linda. And I should just add that it's very absurd that we have had a president who lies about everything. As I said, Linda, that the president of Uganda is the greatest liar you will ever meet in life. When this president came in 1986, I should tell the viewers that he told Ugandans that he did not want to rule. In fact, he said that the fundamental problems of Africa were because of presidents, leaders that overstay in power. That was the major statement he made as he was swearing in 1986. And actually, he promised Ugandans that he had brought us what he called the fundamental change. Now, having said that, he said that he wanted to organize the country and then hand it over to the civilians. That was 1986, and it took 10 damn years, saying he was organizing the country to hand it over. There was no presidential election in 10 years. From 1986 to 1996. It means...
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes, Museveni ruled Uganda for 10 years without a presidential election because he had lied to Ugandans that he was preparing the country to hand it over to an elected civil leadership, not military. What happened after the 10 years? He came around and said, you see, I want to make things more better. Give me this term, 96, I organize, and then I'm going to leave. So we went and voted. Linda, I can tell you, my first voting was in 1996.
Right.
And I went to vote, and I should tell you, and I've been saying it, I didn't vote for Museveni because I knew he was a liar. In 96, I knew Museveni was a liar. Why?
Really,
he had promised Ugandans that he wanted 10 years to organize the country and hand it over to civilians. And he had said that the problem of Africa are leaders who overstay in power. And he had promised a fundamental change. So I thought, why don't you go by your word? That was 96.
Exactly.
Linda, I never voted for Museveni from 96, and I've never voted for him. Why? Because I saw a liar many people didn't see. Now, after 96, we went for 5 years, which brings us to 2001.
Right.
So we went into another presidential election. Now, this time, Ugandans were waking up because the man had ruled for 15 years. By 2001, Museveni had ruled Uganda for 15 years. This is when one of his trusted army officers, who was a minister, called Colonel Besigye Warren Kiza, stood against him. That was 2001. For the first
It was
time,
20 years ago.
yes, for the first time, Uganda saw what we call competition, because Museveni was tested from within. So I'm welcoming my brother Baguma. Council Baguma.
Thank you, Council. I had technical glitches. I'm sorry, Council, but I'm back.
Don't worry about
Fine, welcome back.
apologies. No, don't worry about
We were just discussing what you had told us in the meantime.
Okay.
We told us in advance. Please go ahead. I'm giving you platform. Please go ahead where you stopped. Council, go ahead.
Okay. I do not know at what point I broke off, but
I can remind you. You were
yes,
on
Council.
point where you talked. You were at a point where you talked about realignment. You are going to talk about CEDAW and other legal laws.
Thank you.
We had reached CEDAW point of and those international legal regime and how they impact the local human rights.
Thank you, Council. So I noted that we have existing institutions that are supposed to enforce human rights, like Uganda Human Rights Commission. Me and you know that they are doing nothing. The Uganda Police Force, I say they are doing nothing. You remember the massacre in Kasese? They've never produced that report years on.
Yes.
These Uganda Police Force, the school burnings that are going on around the country, they've never produced reports. You know the courts in the recent case of Kakwenza, 3 orders were given by the courts, but they were never enforced against the violators. All these are glaring examples that institutions exist, but they are powerless. You have a whole committee of parliament on human rights. They were not even able to go and visit the victims rather in our prisons. The Ministry of Justice is a mix of successes and failures. So I talked about civil society, academia, and citizens having a duty to protect rights.
Yes, you did talk about that, sir. Yes, you did. Council, go ahead.
There is a lot of it ongoing. On 22, the right to life, a lot is ongoing. On 23, on the freedom of liberty, there is a lot ongoing. Detention without trial is the order of the day here. 24, on inhumane and degrading treatment, torture is the order of the day. On 25, on labor rights, violation of labor rights is the order of the day. On property rights, 26, land rights are challenged. 27, on privacy, you can deploy in your compound and you do nothing. On 28, on the right to follow the competence the competent courts of law in determination of your matter. The challenge happening there. 29, on freedom to assemble and express yourself. You go on the street, you will be shot dead. A lot of things I cannot even enumerate and finish the list. I noted that traditional institutions that check excesses of government have been co-opted by the state, including faith institutions, civil society, academia, cultural institutions, professional associations, and the labor movement are powerless to challenge the state. A predominantly dominated and disoriented citizenry lacking in civic competence. Our people here look on while their colleagues are being tortured and they will do nothing. And it is happening. We are looking at a pseudo elite lost in enjoying the semblance of success.
Yes.
Our houses in suits, but go and work even for a week, you cannot sustain the lifestyle that you are living. We are in the rat race of employment, and because we think we are okay, we cannot challenge the status quo. So looking at the nature-based economy and livelihoods in Uganda that makes it easier for us to have food, water, energy, housing, and mobility, makes it easier for the rulers to continue violating our rights, because there is no essence and element of survival that challenges you to fight bad governance. Because you have matoke in the backyard, you have some chicken running around the compound, you can grab it and eat it. You have cows that eat free grass in your gardens. You see, the nature-based economy of ours is also a danger to ourselves. I noted the hegemonic rule that has dominated our public and the private spheres of life, defined and manifested by state brutality, torture, and human rights abuses. We are dominated as a society, a strong state intelligence system, that today your brother is the one who spies on you and reports to the state. Your mother reports on your father. The back and forth, we are seeing it happening a lot, that you cannot even trust your wife. You have state capture of institutions by business and the social cultural elite that only serve their interests. Today, if you have money in Uganda, you can abuse anyone's rights, and the matter will simply die out. The police will not even capture your statement. I looked at a weak investigative mechanism in Uganda with the incompetent prosecution system that's responsible for the non-disposal of cases and lack of evidence normally, which is occasioned by the inadequate preparation and filing and by prosecutors. So you'll get a good case, but because it's been investigated poorly, you'll not have the evidence that the prosecutors need to mount a good, if the prosecutor was good, rather if the police was good with the investigative report, the prosecutor is not very good at mounting a good case for you in court. I looked at a subservient and submissive citizenship that believes only in one man and his family to rule this country for life. If you said you want to challenge,
Yes, Council, I can hear you. Though you are breaking a bit, but that was very good.
the system, people, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can. We can.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead, Council.
A kleptocratic and unaccountable dismissive leadership coupled with a conflicted opposition consumed by power positions, fame, and influence, rather than enforcing and enhancing checks and balances for democratic accountable leadership and good governance in the parliament. They are busy fighting for money, for positions, have forgotten their role in the state. Information and knowledge deficit on our part as citizens. If you talk of public policy, very few know about it. The budget and the budgeting process, people know very little about it. Macro and microeconomic issues, they know little about it. Fiscal and monetary policy, things that define appropriation, allocation, and drive expenditure frameworks for service delivery. They have no knowledge of it. So they are satisfied with what is or what is not supposed to be because they don't understand. They are oblivious of that knowledge. It allows, of course, these violations to continue. I talked about the character of the ruling elite. They have no shame and sense of remorse. They are self-conceited and self-centered. They have no fear. A broken family system and social support mechanisms. You'll be beaten, your brother will not be there for you, your neighbor will not come for you. So that's where we are as a country. Empty statements by the West, our development partners. They keep saying in the strongest terms, we condemn this. We advise dialogue. You see, we shall meet at the multilateral level and the UN will intervene to do this. And they go ahead and supply tear gas, guns, and bullets to kick citizens. As we see them, their vehicles running over citizens' bodies on our streets. Access to justice and the cost of accessing legal services remains unaffordable for majority of our citizens. That sustains the violence machinery. A failed education system that glamorizes the pursuit of money after school rather than seeking for solutions for problems that exist in their midst. My senior Kato, you are an expert here. You have always looked to solving our problems, even with your institutions in Masaka and beyond. So our people here look at finishing, running to court to make money. They don't look at challenging the system as in being there for the citizens. I noted a few effects of the aforementioned issues. One as being a citizenship that has lost faith in the leadership and institutions established to serve and protect and the fulfillment of rights. I noted the many people who are dead, the survivors, and the healthcare bills they have to pay beyond their capacity to earn. Then the families of the departed being suffering deprivation. I noted that mental health cases are increasing because people have become powerless. In a recent report of UBOS, I think, and World Health Organization, I think, I stated about 2.4 million Ugandans are mentally challenged. The issue of mob justice and impunity. So people are being motivated by what they see. So everyone now has become a state of lawlessness. Mob justice is the thing other than following the due process of the law. An energized ruling elite and state machinery ready to serve the interests, including the business of death. Anything can happen to you if you do not align to the state interests. The impacts are that crimes are increasing, prostitution, defilements, gender-based violence in homes, with men who can no longer function their conjugal duties. A lot. Then I looked at the options for a new paradigm shift. One, that we should build civic competence through available avenues. Any opportunity try to change their mindset about the state of affairs in human rights. Valuation and pricing of all goods and services. Even the mango that you pick in a forest, maybe we should put a price to it so that someone does not eat it and fall back and think all is well. When they are hungry, they will not allow these things to go on as they seem to be. Petitioning the office of the Speaker of Parliament, public interest litigation in the national, regional, and international courts, and the pursuit of quasi-judicial mechanisms at the Equal Opportunities Commission, at the Uganda Human Rights Commission. I also said there are hybrid models like the Bataka Court. For my sister, Bataka means the citizens. There are citizen courts. I was part of the Bataka Court model at the Hague Institute for Innovation in Law. I was one of the innovators of that model here. My brother Kato comes from Buganda Kingdom. They have what they call the Kisekwa Court, which is a cultural or traditional court in Buganda. This one would help us to isolate the people in our communities. These violators live in communities, but because they know when you take them to the High Court, no one will know about it on the village. But if the villagers sat down in a meeting and they know our neighbor in that fence has tortured and killed, they will be restrained in acting the way they do. Petitioning the West through their embassies here and at multilateral levels, so that we deny these abusers the money they take to the West and the suits they go to buy there and their holidays and the children studying there. They will be restrained. Continued dialogue with the regime. Most of us are friends with the people who are torturing. We still have opportunity to talk to them, and we do talk to them and tell them, guys, yes, you are in government, but the things you are doing are not good. We keep talking to them. Somehow maybe they could improve. Then building an economic base and sustainable livelihood. Someone who has 10,000 in their pocket cannot be confused. They know what they want, don't follow and support blindly the violations ongoing. Improving access to justice services and making them more affordable and less bureaucratic and less legalistic. This language of the council catos confuses citizens. They say, "Bintu biaba lawyer," those are things of lawyers. Let's make it let's make it understandable by the common man. Resource mobilization for legal constitutional awareness. You know, the Constitution provides that we should translate these laws and the Constitution itself into local languages so that everyone is aware about it. If only 80% of this country people know about the laws and the Constitution, they would not allow this madness going on by the state to continue. I make recommendations that under the current political dispensation and the regime as we know it, it is dangerous to protest either peacefully or otherwise because you will get killed. If you can read online the events of November 8th, 2020, are still very fresh. The free expression of ideas is still very dangerous in this country. A drone will pick you. Joining politics is not an answer because they will damn carrots and you join them in the eating, you become worse than the people you've been trying to change. I propose that probably marrying in these circles is important because we see the people who have married the families of the regime functionaries, they can go away with anything and they are not touched. And I thank the members who have invited me to this call to Activism Africa Talks, and my colleagues and my seniors, Tile and Kato, and my brother Paira. I've not heard Paira and I've not seen him. I named him a human rights activist. I did not know whether he's a land friend. And
No,
I beg to
he's
end
a
my
journalist.
presentation, Senior.
Thank you so much, Senior Counsel. Thank you so much, Senior Counsel Baguma. We are excited and exceedingly humbled and grateful that you gave us this powerful presentation. And
Thank you.
it was well researched. I have to thank you. Linda Counsel Baguma wrote it down, and actually he posted it on our platform. I've been reading through your presentation. It's very powerful. I should tell you, you have set a record, just like what Brian did and others have done. And we are going to store this presentation in our archives so that we can refer to it anytime we want to. I want to thank you so much for your presentation, especially the touching aspects on Uganda. And you talked very brilliantly and very candidly about why Uganda is a dead society. Linda, I should tell you this, Baguma is right. In Uganda, many elites, why I don't trust them is that they gave up. The elites in Uganda, as long as an elite can earn bread and butter, as long as an elite can drive a car, and as long as an elite has a house, an elite in Uganda, majority, if we are 100 elites in Uganda, 90% of elites in Uganda don't care about. And it's the reason why I give credit to Councillor Baguma. I've known him for over 10 years, and he has struggled to bring issues of justice, of human rights on table. He has been abused. He has sacrificed his head to speak up. There is a forum where I am with Baguma, and many elites fear to speak up. Many elites fear to criticize the president, the system. Why? Because they want to get bread, because they want to get a contract, because they want to win a tender, because they want to get favors. Now, the elites in Uganda have betrayed the country. They are very docile. They are very contented. Even when they are being abused, they fear so much to speak out. As he has said, even when we make lamentations, even when we show the international community that, look, human rights are being abused in Uganda, they always say, oh, stop it. Museveni, stop it. We shall not allow this. And what does international community do? International community straight in jumps into the bed with Museveni and massages Museveni. So that's why I have loved what Councillor Baguma has presented. And I have to congratulate you, my brother. I honor you. I respect you. I trust
you,
your presentation. I trust you.
I'm amazed. Yes.
Sacrifices. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
What I
think
is
that's
exactly. Yes. Linda, go ahead. Go ahead, Linda.
No, I would say that is absolutely wonderful. I think you have raised such a good structure for how things could be, and I think that it's not just a model for Uganda, but for the whole of Africa, because we face similar issues in all our countries, or we will be soon. Not all are as bad as Uganda, but we must also remember that we never used to have court and a legal system before colonization. it was very much community-based, where our communities would take care of issues. And we didn't have such crime and terrible violent things happening because they were taken care of in a family and in a community. And we've now become so used to this way of the whole court system, which has been introduced throughout Africa, the legal system. It's not the traditional African way of dealing with justice and dealing with crime and with setting standards for the younger generations to follow. I don't feel it's not working for us as Africans because it's not the local court systems, the community systems where the community have a vested interest in keeping crime in and out of the areas, and that is the way to go. But I also see throughout Africa, people do not know their human rights. And it really starts with our children, because if everybody knew what their rights were, if everyone had always known what their rights were, we would start putting our foot down to things many, many years ago. We would have said, hold on, you can't stay in presidency for so long because this is what the Constitution says. When we are arrested, we would say we have to be charged within a certain time, otherwise we must be released. I sometimes think that even police and military don't know human rights. We need to start educating our youth so that we, in all our countries, we know what our rights are and we can stand up for them. And if we all start standing up for the small things, it will make things a lot better. But people just do not know their rights. And I really feel, this is another reason why I feel we have to overhaul our entire education system in Africa. We need to write, we need an African education system written by Africans for Africans to solve African problems. And we need to introduce human rights. Human rights is covered in our education system, but it's a very basic level. I mean, people don't even know once they leave school and they study what their labor rights are, for example, what their rights are when they're buying a house and they have issues with it, all of different kinds of rights. We need to empower our people so that they get to know what their rights are. And I honestly think that we need to look at rolling out some kind of a human rights program in our schools to begin with, because that is our future generation. And we want our future generation to be empowered and to know their rights. And I think what's happening now as well, you were just talking about with the corruption and that, which is also happening everywhere. There's a deliberate suppression of people and of the youth in a country like Uganda, like with your schools being closed for 2 years, things like high school fees and all sorts of things like that. It's almost like you say people are more easily corruptible when they don't have anything. And this is why I think it's also been done. People are being kept suppressed and now being kept pushed down, so that when they are absolutely desperate and they've got children to feed and they are offered money to keep quiet about something or to do something that they don't agree with, they will accept it. And this is another thing that we also have to try and eliminate. It's like the hungrier you keep people and the more you keep money from them and opportunities from them and education from them, the more desperate they'll be and the easier they will be to manipulate and to get to do what you want them to do. And that's a huge problem. And as you say, people are terrified to speak up because examples are made of other people who do speak up. And I've got so tired of this now. I speak out. I just think that those of us who can speak, we must speak. And those of us in other countries must speak for countries like Uganda that are really, really struggling. We need to. It's our moral obligation to help each other out. And if I see a country like Uganda where your press is so silent, there's so much that you aren't allowed to say and do. I have freedom in the country I'm living in now, or like with you, Kato, and lots of people that are in exile. We need to speak out for Uganda. We need to speak out for all the countries that are suffering, because we can't say it's not my country, because it is. And one day it is going to affect your country, even if it isn't already. We were never meant to be split. We were a unified continent. We can't see each other as foreigners. We need to see each other as neighbors, and we need to realize that we are all facing the same problems. We have to work together on this. We have to work together on the same issues in each of our countries. Like this wonderful structure that's been put forward for law and judicial systems and how to overcome problems applies to so many of our countries. And it's just, I mean, in an ideal world, that's what we would all be doing, is just working together and learning from each other. Learning from each other's knowledge and experience, because we've all got something to bring to the table. And I just think it's just a wonderful testament to the Ugandan people after everything your country's been through for so long, you still have these amazing forward-thinking people which have got such sound advice and reasoning and ways out. You've got ways out. You just need to be allowed to use those. So I thank you for that. It's really inspiring to know that through everything that you're going through, there's still so much positivity out there. And despite everything, there's still people that are really, really so invested in making Uganda work. And I really thank you for that tonight. It's very, very interesting hearing everything. And I'm going to read through it properly. And I'm actually going to print a copy out. It's a very, very good manifesto to have and to show people. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, I need to ask a question before you go. I need to learn something from both of you. I am going to be on the road for the next 3 weeks consecutively. I'm moving between districts in Uganda.
Yes.
I travel by tomorrow. I'm part of a big delegation. I'm the representative of civil society. And my interest is to look out of the human rights compliance issues on infrastructure and projects. So what are those leads that I should be looking at without problematizing the community? I pick what I want. The community knows that we have captured their issues. The contractors don't think I'm trying to incite violence, and I'm not looked in a bad light by my colleagues in the government.
Okay, if I give you my quick take, when we're going to talk about infrastructure and community development within the community, one of the entry points would be to ask the community if they have had local council meetings discussing the projects in their community. If there's a road going to be made, yes, participation, inclusiveness, we call it popular participation also. If there's going to be a road in the community, do you involve them? Do you let them know what's going to happen? For example, you'll be surprised. I've done that one before. You'll be surprised to know that many of the community members don't know that actually the local council 3, LC 3, the Gombola sub-county, has some money or has a budget to make some few feeder roads, for example. They may not know. They only know that the central government in Kampala is supposed to do the main roads, the tarmac ones, but they don't have an idea how much, for example, a road passing within their region is going to cost. They have no idea, which means that a contractor can connive with the local council and they steal money. The contractor can connive with the COW, the chief administrative officer, and they steal money. Why? Because the community is not empowered to know, one, who is the contractor, two, what are the terms of that contract? No one of them knows. Number three, how much? Number four, what is our contribution? For example, if a road is going to be dug, made in the area, what is the contribution of the wananchi, the porters, those who are going to give the first-hand kind of job? Are they got from Kampala, from the city center, or from within the village? So these are questions you have to ask, but they must rotate more on participation, on accountability, because this is where corruption is. The wananchi does not know their rights. For example, if a road is going to pass through a piece of land, have you been compensated? Or was it valued, evaluated? Did you go into a contract? Was it signed with your consent? Or they simply said, we are going to give you this much? So these are human rights issues which also legalistic in a way, that you should ask silently to seek their understanding, but also leave the area when you have empowered them. When they know, oh, there was a lawyer who said we have a right to know how much this hospital, how much this health center, how much this road will cost. We have a right to know how much it costs. And we have a right to know who is the contractor. We have a right to know how long it is going to take. Because someone is going to the road 3 years when the contract was saying it must be done within 8 months. But those are all indicators of corruption. So that's a simple guideline I could advise you on that. Linda may add something.
Thank you.
Linda, what do you think?
Thank you, Council. Linda, I'm waiting.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. It's empowering communities, because a lot of the time decisions and things are made in our countries, and they affect people in the areas where they're happening, and people don't have an idea of what's happening. And it makes them feel not as in control of things. And communities should be consulted and should know exactly what's happening, so that they all feel that they're on board. And then I think you see where the communities really pull together and they're supportive of the project. They won't be that upset if it goes over schedule and things like that, or there's a lot of noise and dust or whatever, because they feel that they're part of it. It's been done with their they're sort of giving it the thumbs up and they're involved in it. It's not just someone that's taking over and doing something without their permission. And I think it's very important. And like you say as well, Tata, I don't know about the permissions that people get for if there are new roads and developments being made that go alongside their land, or if they are told exactly given plans. I know in South Africa, normally if a new development is about to begin, or even roads, all the people in the immediate, the homeowners in the immediate vicinity of that, whatever's going to be built, are given letters that they can, they have a meeting if anyone wants to object to it. And then they also give out a rough sort of building plan, so people can see exactly what's planned, what's going to be planned. And the people in the region are kept up to date. And they've got a signpost outside the property that they're developing as well. So that if there are any objections, they have a day where everyone can come in and talk about it and see how they can overcome those problems. So it's definitely very much so involving communities in things that are going to be affecting them personally.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Tile.
Yes. Yes. Council, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you so much
Council.
for your rich, well-researched and insightful discussion there. As we conclude with you, Council, and we'll let you go, I'd like to ask you one important question, which I'd like to get your feedback. The issue of politicization of the transport sector in Uganda, since that's where you have a civil society coalition. Whenever we go into campaigns in Uganda, the civil society, the transport sector is generally politicized. We have seen the UTODA, we have seen the KOTUDA, whatever it is. We see them putting on we see them putting on UTODA, putting on getting sides, and the whole system becomes not neutral. And a human rights perspective, what should be the way forward? How should we stop politicizing the transport sector, and what are the impacts when we do so?
Council, the question you ask is not unique. Since 2013, I've been centrally involved in writing a policy statement for civil society at what we used to call the annual Joint Transport Sector Policy Review Conferences, where you have all the agencies coming together, the donors, the contractors, for a meeting yearly to evaluate the performance of the Uganda Railways, the aviation sector, the maritime sector, the roads sector, the road fund sector. So it is a year when we converge for 3 days as a family to discuss in black and white the issues. And I'm known to raise these issues. As you know me, Council, the minister is there, I will say I will say it without fear of favor. The politics is largely informed by the orientation of policy formulation in the country. Me and you know that we have Vision 2040 for the country. And it uses devices called national development plans to implement the development agenda of the country. We had the first national development plan 2010-2015, which expired. We got the second national development plan, which was 2016-2020, which expired. Now, those two were under what they used to call the sector-wide approach. In other words, you had the 5 agencies, the modular transport modes of Uganda, pipeline, water, rail, aviation, and roads, working in silos. They only meet together to present their statement. But today, under the third National Development Plan 2020-2025, you have what we call the program approach. All entities that have anything to do with transport and mobility come together and plan together for resource efficiency and effectiveness of implementation. Now, our eye as civil society is to say, guys, you are getting it wrong here. Here you are getting right, but we can benchmark from Kenya. They have done it better here. I will tell you, for example, we have faced the issue of costs of road construction in Uganda. An average now is about 1.4 million US dollars for every kilometer.
Wow.
of a road.
Yo, that's a lot.
$1.4 million. Now, that is the standard. But when you look at the comparative figures, Rwanda is at $360,000. Ethiopia is $340,000.
Right.
Kenya is 370 in that margin. Rwanda used to be at 330. I don't know what rate they are at. And we always ask ourselves, is cement different across the border?
Exactly.
Is water different across the border? Now, that is the part that had been systemic and endemic for so many years. But now let me bring you the banter. You all know when you're flying in, you take the Entebbe Expressway. That road that was made by the China government. The form of contract was design, build, operate, and transfer model. So right now we are on the operate model where the Chinese are collecting, where there is a French company collecting on the road to pay the Chinese off for the next 30 years. But we know, and it's a scandal you can put in on Google as we speak, it has turned out to be the most expensive road in the world. $9.2 million per kilometer. I want to
You're joking. Woo.
I'm not joking. You can look it up. 9.2.
That's shocking.
9.2 million dollars per kilometer. It is documented. Even when you speak about it in the sector, people smile and keep quiet. Because
are you paving it with Uganda's gold? You must be paving it with Uganda's gold.
People were saying, was it paved with gold, with what? With diamonds.
Or you're paying the Ugandans that are working on the road are getting paid fantastic salaries for that work that they're doing.
No, but all of us know what actually happens. All that money went into red thinking. You see?
Goodness. So 9.2 million.
$9.2 million per kilometer. It's a scandal. So it is the first PPP project that has failed. We have a Public-Private Partnership Act and a Public-Private Partnership Policy in the country. So that coming under, because the project was preceded by the law, but it was brought under compliance of that law and policy. But even to that extent, it is a first failed PPP experience for Ugandans. Now, back to the politics. I was still talking about the nature of public policy formulation. When you are formulating the NDP3, it is extracted from the manifesto of the ruling party.
Okay.
So when Museveni is campaigning, he has a manifesto 2020-2025. So because he knows he's winning by some magic, it happens that his policy construct on infrastructure is transferred into the National Planning Authority, and they sit and they say, okay, this is what the ruling party wants to do its thing for the next 5 years. Then they break it down professionally over a period of 5 years and cost it and have a costed implementation strategy for it. So the nature of policy formulation itself is political. The law or legislative agenda, and so you know that the legislative agenda is political. You have the tyranny of the majority in parliament.
True.
The tyranny of the majority that the ruling party will always have its way on anything they want to formulate. And you know that every financial year, we do what we call the amendments to the Public Finance Management Act. Maybe some more policy move is coming up or some fiscal policy thing is coming up. So anything they come up with to amend the Public Finance Management, something will happen. The Budget Act amendment, something will happen. The Income Tax amendment, the tyranny of the majority will overwhelm the small opposition that you have. If we have an opposition anyway, because as I presented in my paper, majority of them are there for their own. They are not there to give the necessary checks and balances. Now let's come to the frontline issues. You have, as you said, some of these sector players like Utoda, Utrada, and others wearing the president's t-shirts, yellow party t-shirts, and marching with him and showing support. Some of them have guns. And there's nothing you can do about it because the state of affairs is such that the people, for example, supposed to check them, which is the police and the intelligence community, are in bed with them. The people who are deployed to work in the sector, first and foremost, are appointed by the president. And the majority are cadres. So there's nothing you can do. The little we can do, the few of us, you come up and say what you have to say. When they do good, you pat them on the back. When you are given an opportunity to sit on the same platform, you give your knowledge as you know it. You let it to be challenged. We cannot do much counsel other than talking and writing.
I know.
So that grandchildren remember there was this man who wrote these things.
That's how I feel as well about things that I do. Because you find it.
Thank you. Tila, you're saying something.
I feel the same way because I find it so much that we deal with here. There are channels put in place that are supposed to help you. So you will go with all your evidence and your ideas or whatever, and you'll present, and you'll just hit brick walls. You go high up, you hit brick walls, and you realize that in every position, in whether it be with labor or with domestic things or with the schooling systems or whatever, there's people that have been put in place that you can only ever reach a certain level with getting changes made. And then you can go no further than that because you are involved at a much higher level where if you refuse to compromise your values, you just have to stop. You have to stop. And like I say, you feel so helpless at times because you try, you know that you've got everything that you need, like with the policies and things that you've discussed with us tonight, that will work. But there's nothing you can do, your hands are tied, and it's very, very frustrating. And this is another reason why there's only supposed to be set presidential terms because of problems like this happening where you have one person in power for so long that's set in their ways with ideas and then they will never change. And we need changes. And I just think if we can write, like what Kato and I say as well, if we can just write everything we know and we feel and things that we hear from other people, that someday hopefully that will be of help to somebody. Because you can't just sit back and do nothing. And maybe just help the people to think like you do or people around you that can see it for what it is so that when we're all long gone one day, there are people behind us that can carry on with these ideas and take them forward. That's all I can suggest. But it's very frustrating because when you know you're doing something right and you've got a good idea and you've got good people backing you, you just hit the ceiling all the time, every single time. And it's very soul destroying. You sometimes feel like just giving up, and then, but you just pick yourself up and you carry on the next day, and that's all that we can do, really. So I really, really feel for what you explain, what you've been going through, because I can understand, not obviously to the extent, but I really admire you for just keeping on going and just being so passionate. I think when you believe in the truth and you're a good person, that's what keeps you going, because you are determined. If you can't overcome what's happening around you, you won't lower yourself to be like that. You will continue being good and coming out with your ideas and things for the betterment one day of your people. And that's really admirable, because it's so difficult. It really is. So thank you for that.
Thank you, colleagues. I'm putting another burden on your hands. My brother Kato and my senior at law knows that the main problem right now on human rights violations in Uganda is the continued killings of our daughters in the Middle East, especially Saudi Arabia. Yeah. There are hundreds of videos on how they are being treated, raped, and you know. Now, the latest was just yesterday. A video came out. The family actually, I got the details of the family yesterday and today. It was, I think it is God's nature. This girl set up her camera in a certain position. So this Arab family comes and strangles her live on camera, and she's dead. You have not heard as little as a statement from government that our citizen has been killed, and there's a video doing rounds, and the people know her. She's from Rubindi, and the names are known. And she's just joining a list of other people who have been killed in the same nature. What are we going to do as Africans? What is this with Arabs that they don't like about Africans?
I don't know, but I think that as Africans, we need to stand up for this.
Yes, to just to add on that, because we are going to conclude very soon in the next 10 minutes. But I should tell you that we are opening a Pandora. The area you have opened, we need to have a day, a talk show to discuss the problem of unemployment in Uganda and the rights of migrant laborers in Uganda, but also in Africa. Because the problem of those girls is not a Ugandan problem alone. It's a problem worldwide. But unfortunately, Africans are facing the worst. So when I say Africans, because as we cry in Uganda, we are crying in Kenya, Zambia, South Africa, all the girls that leave Africa and go to the Middle East have been subject to the same humiliating kind of treatment. And it's bizarre, it is too bad, because we get these reports every
week now.
I'll send you the videos I have for just right now. I have videos, I've shared some of them on the platform, which are not so distressing, but I have kept the worst with me. It is terrible, because basically our government does not care about its people. And I repeat that over and over, because I've been saying it. Government is interested in the monies that are remitted back to Uganda. You know that those girls, when they go, basically the money they sent back to Uganda is taxed. Council, the money sent back to Uganda is taxed.
True.
Government takes a percentage of it.
That's true.
Well, that money may come on mobile money, it's going to be taxed. When it comes on mobile money, it's going to be taxed. When it goes through a bank, it's going to be taxed. So there is a tax that falls onto that money. And the government wants that money to come in, but government of Uganda, just like many governments in Africa, do not care about the life of their own people. Now, as activists, we need to have an entire talk show on this problem. There's no way I can finish it in the next 7 minutes which are left. We have 7 minutes to go, and we are going to respect our time. But the problem is recognized, and I assure you, Councillor Baguma, do your research, do your paper. We are going to host you back, and we discuss the problem of migrant labor. Africa. You bring a case study for Uganda, we shall bring another expert to talk about the other parts of the world so that we can know where is the problem. But also we have to know what can we do? What can we do about it? How do we stop the Arabs? I should say this, many Arabs, not all of them, many Arabs treating black girls as animals. They rape them, they cut their throat, they steal their organs. Apart from that, there is organ trafficking. They take away their organs, kidney, liver, heart transplant, and they kill them for their organs. Our girls are put on stock, on as if they are chicken on a table, and the best bidder takes them. I have written about this when I was in Uganda. The New Vision sent a spy in the Arab world, and the spy got photos. I have that on my Facebook if you check it 3 years ago. The New Vision government paper sent a spy to the Arab world and got pictures of our girls being sold like hens,
like cattle
cows in a market, sold like cattle, you know. And the government newspaper exposed that 2 years ago. I put it on my Facebook page. If anyone can scroll, just about 2 years ago, you are going to see this story. So, Mr. Baguma, Council, this problem is too big that we need to have a platform. We need to have a talk show to simply talk about the problem of externalization of labor, the problem of immigrants going abroad and how they are treated and what we can do about it. So, Linda, as we conclude, I want to invite you. We have 6 minutes to go. I want to invite you, Linda, to give your submission briefly on what we have discussed today, and then we shall invite Councillor Baguma to say goodbye with a conclusion of 1 minute, and then we shall be out of here. Linda, back to you now.
Thanks for that. Yes, I do think that just on this last topic, it's something huge. I think we also need to start with educating people in Uganda as to what's going on there. There was a lady I heard about recently. What's happened with a lot of the women in the rural villages is their husbands have been taken around about election time because they were supporting the opposition party, and they haven't seen them again. And we have women that are really, really struggling to raise their children and can't afford school fees. And they are the ones that are being recruited to go and work in the UAE and places like that. And they have said they're desperate. They don't know when they're ever going to see their husbands again, if they get on alive. And they also don't know that the husband was the main breadwinner. They're battling with subsistence farming, with just putting food on the table. And as a mother myself, I know if you have a situation where you can't feed your own children, you will go to desperate measures. Within legally, I'm talking about, some people will just turn to crime, but those of us who don't, you'll try anything to be able to feed your kids. And I think that this is just, that lady was on her way to Saudi Arabia, and I managed to talk to her, and I'm now helping support her with an overseas donor, her and her children, every month. And she's now being taught skills by someone I know, with sewing skills in Uganda, and I'm so grateful for that, because if it's just one person that I could have helped. Abraham as well has been working tirelessly for a month from South Africa to get a fellow Ugandan who he also didn't even know out of Saudi Arabia who was being abused. And I'm just so proud of him, because he told me a couple of days ago that she's successfully back in Uganda again. And he played a big role in that. People just need to start being aware and helping where they can, even if you can just help one person, support one person, and let them know what's happening. And we've got so much of our skills and our skill sets leaving Africa as well to other countries. And you know, my whole theory is that I feel that Africa is being raised to be the next generation of slaves to the West. We have been raised to be the workers for the West, for all those jobs that can't be done by technology and computers. And I really stand against it. And we need to start raising awareness and helping people. Because as they say to me, what option do we have? We can earn a decent salary and feed our families if we go to the UAE. Or we can stay here and we don't know what we can face starvation. And they get put into that situation where they only have one option, and this is what's happening to them. And it's just the same as killing that person or putting them in prison. It's just being done in a different way. You know, forcing people. It's the same as all the people in Kakuma refugee camp that are forced to flee. They are in the same situation with starvation and not being able to work, and the children aren't allowed schooling and that. It's human rights violations on every single level. Every single person is affected by it. And we really, really need to start speaking up. And we need to get outside countries to speak up for Uganda as well. Those of us who can and have platforms. I'm trying to really support with as many people as I can, because we need to overcome this problem. And we need to approach the United Nations and the African Charter of Human and People's Rights. I mean, surely they can help us in some way, Kato. If we get petitions and we speak to them and put in reports about what's happening. Is anybody doing it? Is anyone putting reports into the AU about what's happening and following their legal system? If anything, we need to be recording these violations against our people so that there's a paper trail, so that none of this is happening will ever be forgotten, that we can form a record of what happened under certain people's rule in certain countries, and people can eventually be held accountable for it. But we have to start putting records through the official channels. So that's something we need to talk about as human rights defenders, as a group with everyone else, and on the group and in other countries, and see how can we work together across our countries. Like you say, it's affecting a lot of us, but it's really bad in Uganda, to overcome this problem collectively. Because it's not a country-specific issue. It's happening to women, the trafficking and that in all our... It's a modern form of slavery again, isn't it? It's slavery, except we just don't think it is because it's being done in a very 2022 way. But it's slavery. That's what it is. So that's my thoughts on that. And on human rights in general, everything we discussed today, that we need to start speaking to other countries and finding solutions. Because our governments aren't going to find solutions for us. So we have to try and find solutions together. And I firmly believe that as Africans, we can help and save each other. The West is not going to come and save us. It's really up to us to look out for each other and to work together as neighbors, as friends, as family. And we can get ourselves out of this mess, but we have to work together as a cohesive continent and stop looking at our neighbors as foreigners and see them for who they really are. So thank you, Kato, and thank you so much. It's been wonderful, wonderful having such knowledge on the show and having the input.
Yes, this is my last remark. I'm going to invite Councillor Baguma. Councillor Baguma, give us your last remark as we part for today, and then we shall be able to come back here very soon. Councillor Baguma, back to you. Your conclusion.
My seniors at law, I need to remind all the people watching us and the listeners across the world that they internalize the presentation as I posted it on our forum. My concluding remarks are one, and I'm going to problematize this concluding remark so that we have a reflection on it.
Okay.
And I'm looking at the intransigence, first, of our girls. That they know their colleagues are dying and they see them returning home with bodies. They see them coming on crutches and clutches. They see them coming with organs missing in their bodies. But you, at the Entebbe airport, every day, you see throngs of them being lined up to board planes. When you take a flight, it is uncommon for you to fly out of this country and you don't find them on the plane. I know there is poverty, but all of us are in Kampala here and there is poverty and we are doing what we can. What is it that drives our girls in the face of death, they continue throwing to the same place? That is something that we should reflect on, but we have an opportunity. The UPR, Universal Periodic Review process, is on. So let us look at the strict compliance of the international human rights legal regime, how Uganda is complying with it during this UPR process. We should be very active to set out these cases. I know the CEDAW review is due this year. Let's look at the gender aspect, especially this issue of the women and the girls. It has to do with the CEDAW, and we have an opportunity that last month, a Ugandan advocate, a member of the Uganda Law Society, was appointed on this committee. She's called Ajoko or some name like that. So she knows the problem from home. She can help us elevate this to the CEDAW level. I'm looking at the UN mechanisms. Let us, me and Council, I don't know when Council is flying back to Uganda. You should be able to come, we sit down, craft a petition, we present it to the UN Human Rights Council office here for the UN Rapporteur on Human Rights, because it's a mechanism, because then he will take it to the United Nations General Assembly for a comment and back to us for eventual adoption. We need it as yesterday. I'm looking at public interest litigation. Public interest litigation, I think we are behind the timelines. We need to have an action against the state and all the stakeholders involved in this illegal transaction and criminal enterprise that is labor externalization. We need to start crafting our documents. I also looked at approaching the UN agencies here and presenting our case. We have the Law Revision Act of 2020. So the Uganda Law Reform Commission is coming up to bring the laws up to speed in terms of publication. There are certain sections of the law that were repealed under various amendments. There are provisions in the laws that were considered unconstitutional by the Supreme Court that need to be expunged off our statute books. So we should take advantage of this process and see to it that during the review, there is a lot for us to learn and how we can use it against the state and the violators. I thank the viewers and listeners across the world.
Thank you, Council.
And
Thank
my
you
seniors
very
at Locato and Tile.
Thank you so much, Council. I'm grateful for your submission and grateful for your time. And I'm grateful for this conversation we've had today. And I am grateful that you have given us all this time to share with us. And I want to encourage you, Council, to continue fighting for the rights of many Ugandans who cannot speak up. I've seen you doing this fight for the last 10 years, and I want to encourage you. I salute you, I respect you, and I promise you we shall continue working together where we are to ensure that Uganda is free. Thank you very much, Councillor Baguma. Thank you very much, Linda Tilly. Linda Tilly, I'm handing over to you because I'm also signing out. Linda Tilly is going to be the one to say goodbye.
Thank you so much for joining us all tonight, and thank you so much.
Linda,
you are fine.
To you, Linda.
Sorry, I'm Pierre. Thank you so much thanks to everyone for watching. I know we have a lot of viewers after the show. I think last week we had about 4,500 people that watched. We had interaction with them. We had interaction on the platform with the people after the show. So we thank you so much. We are being watched all over Africa and in other countries over the world as well. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful to host you tonight and to meet another fine example of an honorable Ugandan man, and which just makes up for a lot of the negativity that's coming out of Uganda. So I thank you. It's an honor to know you and to hopefully work together in some way in the future where we can help collectively from different countries to overcome the problems that we all face. So thank you very much. I really enjoyed that. It was such an interesting topic for us to discuss and the angle that we took tonight. Thank you, Kato. So I'm going to say good night to everybody, and we'll see you next week at the same time.
Thank you, Linda, and thank you, Baguma.
Thank you very much.
Morale Kulungi.
Hiya.
Thank you very much, Kurungi. Bye-bye.